How do you start a retirement plan? Here's the answer. Dive in. Okay, so how do you actually start a retirement plan? The real question is what kind of retirement do you want? That's going to determine what the answer is for this video, and I'm going to go over some of those options for you right now. All right, so how do you start a retirement plan? Now I'll tell you, it could be as simple as just starting a savings account with the bank. Now that may not be the best place to store for retirement, because if you're getting paid 0.nothing% at the bank, you're gonna realize you're not gonna get very rich. But let's be honest, if you start saving, you're literally saving towards something. Now I do agree, before you worry about saving for a retirement plan, do this. Save for your emergencies. I recommend you have at least 6 months of expenses saved up. So if you're spending, let's say, $5,000 a month, that means you should have at least $30,000 in savings before you even worry about a retirement plan. Now, there will be people out there telling you, especially financial advisors, because they don't make money when you put money in savings. They only make money if you put it into their retirement plans. They'll tell you, well, you shouldn't wait, because every few years you wait, you gotta save double that. I can just tell you from my own personal experience, and take it from somebody who, unlike financial advisors, actually was able to retire twice by the time I was 39 years old. You might be like, how do you retire twice? I'll tell you, I screwed up the first time, okay? So that's why. I screwed up, had to do it again, but I proved it twice by the time I was 39. Most financial advisors work into their 70s, and they still can't retire, okay? So let's just be honest here. But I will tell you from my own experience, if you don't have that emergency fund, you're gonna tap into your retirement account anyways as your emergency fund, and the types of retirement accounts that are out there, things like 401ks you can get through your company that you work for, IRAs and things like that, Roth IRAs, those don't like you touching them. They like to lock it up. Right? They just keep it all locked up so you can't use it. And if you try to get to it, they slap you with penalties. So the first step you should be doing before you worry about stupid retirement plans is focus on the here and now. What do I have for my emergency fund? And I recommend at least 6 months of expenses that you have for your monthly expenses. If you're a business owner, just so you know, I would recommend 12 months, because you never know what can happen in business, and you also need to have money in your business, and you need to have money at home too. And trust me, if you're married at all, your spouse will thank you, your partner will thank you. If you're not married, well, that might be the little extra nudge to get them to be like, ooh, that's sexy, you got some savings. Okay, they may not say that, okay? I mean, but you never know. You know, that's at least, you will feel sexier at least. You will feel more certain and more secure in your situation. Once you get that in place, then full steam ahead, let's start investing for that retirement. Question is, what kind of retirement do you want? Do you want to retire young? Do you want to retire old? Do you want to retire, like after the age of 60? Do you want to retire at the age of 40, before like I did, or whatever it might be? Whatever you want to do, it depends, because that will depend on which vehicle you pick. For example, if I want to go to Paris, France, and I live, just so you're aware, I do live in America. I talk like an American. I've lived all over the western part of the United States. But if I were to try to go to Paris, France, I ain't taking a car. Taking a car will not get me very far. And I didn't mean to make it rhyme this time. Dang it. Anyways, I didn't mean to take a car, right? If I take a car, I sink in the freaking ocean, don't I? You need a plane, ideally over a boat, because, that might be kind of sickening, but at least get a plane or something like that to get you to your destination. So different vehicles get you to different places. If you're focused on saying, I don't care about retirement till I'm at least 60, 70 years old, then good news, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, using a combination of those could actually work for you. Why? Because they have this 59.5 rule that says you gotta be at least 59.5 years old before you touch it, because if you try to get to it, not only will you have to pay taxes on some of those, Roth IRA not the case, but they'll charge you an extra 10% penalty on top of those taxes for taking that money out too early. So you gotta be very careful. And yes, there's little things like 72T or things like that you can use. But the truth is, guys, that if you're gonna look to retire after the age of 60, those vehicles could work. But I'll tell you this, I get a lot of people that say, Chris, I don't know if I ever wanna retire. I'd rather just be work optional. I wanna have the ability that if I can work or not, because I don't wanna be bored the rest of my life. I wanna have purpose, I wanna have meaning. By the way, I get it, because I was able to retire twice, right? And here I am talking to this camera, which is you, right? Talking to you through this camera, right? I guess I'm talking to a camera, but I am talking to you too. But that's the thing, is I'm doing this because I don't want to be sitting around bored. I tried it before. And I'll tell you, especially when I did it first time I was 28 years old, first time I was able to retire, it kind of sucked, because all my other 28-year-old friends were just starting their careers. And I don't golf, okay? I'm not a golfer or anything like that, so I can't do that crap with old people. So what am I gonna do all day? So I wanted to do something that felt like had purpose and meaning. I love teaching. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is what I choose to do. But guess what? I don't wanna put my money into IRAs and 401ks because I wanted financial freedom sooner. And so I did things like real estate investing. I did things like that, which is not exactly a retirement account. And by the way, your financial advisor will never tell you to do real estate investing because they don't get paid a dime if you put money into real estate versus their little fun little funds that they give you, right? Which, by the way, they're high risk, mediocre returns. They're kind of crappy and boring, and they really just don't do much for you, which is why 99% of Americans don't ever retire well. They end up retiring stressed if they ever get to retirement. So you don't want to be in that position. And by the way, if you think I made up that number, I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. That's actually based on real stats that less than 2% of people have over $1 million in their retirement accounts. And of those that do, guess what? 35% of them surveyed said they still think it'll be a miracle before they'll be able to retire. That means over a third of these people. That's just the people that think it's not possible. There's the other segment of people that thought it might be tough. I might make it, I might not. So that means really you're probably left with like 1% of people that say, I'm good. Especially if they're closer to that retirement age. So don't be like those people. You can do something better than that. You can just not throw your money away in the stock market, hoping and praying it keeps going up like it has the last 15, 16 years, when it's likely to actually go down in the next 10 years. By the way, did you know the market's only predicted by Vanguard to go up between 2.8 and 4.8% a year? You can almost get a crappy CD at a bank and get the same rate. By the way, this is why you're seeing interest rates. People go and put money in treasuries and bonds because they think they'll make more money there than they will in the stock market for the next decade. So just be aware of this stuff, right? You never know what these numbers can really produce for you. And so if you want an early retirement age, you don't want to be in those kind of vehicles. This is why I do a combination of things like life insurance. I use like the infinite banking concept. And I also do things like real estate investing because I can actually create income now. I don't have to wait till I'm 60,000 years old or whatever age that the government tells me at that time I can pull out the money without a penalty, because they can change the rules at you at any time. No, I don't worry about that. I figure out what can I do right now to make some income. So that's the kind of thing that I do. So it just depends on what you want to do. So where do you start, right? Like I said, if you already have your savings account, you've already built up that reserves, great. Where do you start? You don't have to have the IRAs and the 401ks. Just so you know, that company 401k is kind of BS anyways. Most of the time they don't even return that well for you. I actually looked at Fidelity of their stats. Did you know they underperform the stock market by over 2% in Fidelity and the typical funds that most people get? Here's the funny thing. You might say, well, yeah, but they told me I get free money. I get this match, this 100% match at work. Yeah, if you ever put that into a calculator, the real numbers of a match, guess what? It only averages about an extra 2 or 3% a year. So the funny thing is, especially when you factor in all the fees and everything else that come out, you actually do about the same as if you had just invested on your own, because the bad performance of that 401k and all those extra fees that they charge you is actually all you're getting with the match is making up for those bad fees and the bad performance. So it's the same. So I'll tell you this, like you can invest on your own better even outside of your company 401k. They'll all think you're stupid, but guess what? When you have more money than they do and you're like, dude, I know you're gonna be working until you're 72 years old, good luck with that. I'm 42 and I'm out of here, right? Now who's gonna be like bragging about it? Hopefully not you, because you're not petty like that, but I would. I'm petty. I would do it. Okay, I wouldn't do that either, but I might do it a little bit. Just a little, just subtly, So anyways, that's the thing, guys. Like it can be proven to work, and I've made it work in my own life and a lot of other people's lives too. So that's the kind of thing you do. You could be a vehicle like a 401k or an IRA, but just know you're gonna have to wait forever before you can use it. But there are other things, like I said, I mentioned life insurance, but you don't have to do that. You could literally have money in savings, but then use it to go put in investments like real estate, but not like the house next door. This could be something you can be investing into the real estate investors and what they're doing. And they might pay you a fixed return of like 10%, 11, 12%. I even have like raw land type of partnership we do. We're making over 20% a year with the money we're investing. And actually, it's my money I'm investing. They're just doing all the work. I give them the money so that I don't have to do the work, right? So it can actually be passive. So there's a lot of cool things you can do, a lot of different options. If you want to know what those options are, subscribe to this Money Ripples channel now, because we got plenty of those alternative investment options available for you here.